I have to laugh with this prompt today because I'm sure many of you friends are like, Laura, do you even know what you want to read? You say you want to read this and that, but do you really know? And the answer is no. No, I don't, friends. No, I don't. Happy Wednesday, my friends. I'm so very excited that you're here. I am excited for today's Top 5 Wednesday prompt. I love filming these videos and I really appreciate everybody that watches and comments on them. And I hope that you're excited for another Top 5 Wednesday video. But in case if you're not familiar with Top 5 Wednesday in a nutshell is basically each week I answer a prompt using 5 books, but in this case I do manga to reflect that said prompt. And today is Plan to Read. The end of the year is slowly but surely getting here. We are steadily getting into fall and winter, which means we're getting to the last 2 seasons of the year, but that doesn't mean that there's still not time left in the year to conquer and read some of those series or books that we said we're gonna read it this year. You know, it's creeping up. Like the end of the year is creeping up. So today we're talking about manga titles that I guess I'm talking about manga titles or series that I want to read before this year ends. And it's so funny because, you know, I don't even know how many videos I've said it already. That's like, I'm gonna read Cells at Work. I'm gonna read Cells at Work. I plan to read Cells at Work, but I did not include it in this video because I tried to think of series, longer series that near the beginning of the year when Marg reads manga, she did a template. I don't know if I still have it saved, but I think on that list that I had left, well, I'm going to say 2 of those titles that were on that list. The one title that won't make it is Demon Slayer, because when I was reading Yona of the Dawn, which I did review last week, I hope you guys enjoyed it. When I did that review, or when I was reading that series, I realized that some of the graphic violence in Yona is just something that I was not able to handle very well, and it's not even that graphic, friends. It's really not. I mean, for the series, yes, compared to the other violence in the series, but in comparison to Demon Slayer, if I can't handle what's in Yona, how in the world am I supposed to handle what's in Demon Slayer? That was a really crushing blow, and I do believe I mentioned that in that video. So Demon Slayer is not on my list, despite that it was on the original list of series that I wanted to read this year. But the other 2, well, for number 1, I'm going to say Takane and Hana. I read volume 1 from my library last year, and I loved it so much that I went and bought the rest of the series immediately. And it's sat on my shelf ever since. I have used different volumes and different photos that I take on Instagram, but actually reading I have not. I have not done it. I feel like I sound like Master Yoda there for a second. So I'm like, Laura, you have time. And I really loved volume 1. Like I said, it was very good. It was very funny. I was a little bit leery because of the age gap, but it's so hilarious. It's like a feel-good, laughable read and just something that's just like, I don't know where else to go with that because I haven't read past volume 1. But that's the thing. I want to be able to see where this series goes and just how it ends because I know so many people love this series. This was one that I didn't pick up on my own. The manga community influenced me to pick it up and I'm just like, it's time. So this is a firm reminder like, hey, that there is time and to go ahead and read the series to again see how it ends. And not just that, after saying that, not just that, but also just to have a good time. I love reading manga that makes you feel good, that makes you happy, and it's just a good time. Like, I love my fluffy stuff, especially my fluffy romance. 100% here for it all day long. This is like all of that combined with a lot of humor, and so I need just a happy read, and this is one of them. I know it, but I've got to actually read it. For number 2, this was also a binge buy. I have not read volume 1 though, and that is Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts. Shay at Shay Geeks Out gushed about how amazing this series is, and she even said it's better than Yona. And those are some big words, and I was really shocked. I was like, well, man, I know that Shay loves and adores Yona, and I'm like, if she's saying that it's good as, or even better, I need to get on this series. And so I begged my husband, I think for Mother's Day, I didn't maybe beg, but I did plead, like, please, can I get this series? I believe it was around Mother's Day. He was so kind and so gracious, and he let me get the whole series. It's sat on my shelf ever since. This is so horrible. I was like, I'm so bad about this. One of my like early New Year's resolutions is like not to to stock up on a whole series, like, that I need to actually read it, especially if I'm, like, on the fence, which I don't know if I'm on the fence. Well, I am a little bit, because after I read Yona, I realized politics is just not necessarily my cup of tea. This has a lot of politics from my understanding, but the romance is heavier, I guess you would say. There's much more romance from my understanding, and usually if there is a solid, much more romance than Yona gives, even though it has great romance when we get it, then I feel like I'll be okay. Like, it will sort of overshadow the politics, and I'll be okay. I'm like, I can handle the politics, but when it's the main focus, I do struggle with that, I realize. I'm hoping that I love this series, and it's one that I definitely plan to read, especially since the anime is coming, and I did watch, I think, the trailer and was super impressed. This is actually a series that I do want to read during October. I think it's called the Manga Freakathon. I'll leave a link here, but Bizarre Individual and Marguerite's Manga, they're both going to be hosting a challenge throughout the month of October. Check out that video. They have a bingo square card thing that they're doing, so you can like you want to try and get bingo. And so I feel like this manga has different elements that would fit the bingo card really, really well. And it just seems like a great non-spooky kind of read to read in October, because we have these different, I have volume 1, but we have these different kinds of beast. And I don't know, I just like, I'm ready. I'm ready to read it, and it just seems like it'd be a good October read. For number 3, this one was sort of on my list, and I think I actually like put it on my list originally, and then I took it off because I'm like, that's a pretty short series, but that is Those Not So Sweet Boys. And the reason I'm bringing this up, I don't know if Nick's gonna watch this video, Nick at Heartless Weeb, but last week on the Otaku live stream that I'm part of, that Carrie at Nerdy Girl creates, that she hosts each week, and I'll leave a link to the last week's video, Nick and I talked about that we should do a buddy read of this. And so I'm like, I'm putting this on my plan to read, that before the year ends, that him and I are gonna buddy read this. He talked about doing a live stream, and I'm really excited because I'm like, I would love to do like a review kind of live stream kind of thing, because I'm a review junkie. I absolutely love them. I read volume 1, and I do have a video review. Yeah, I do have a video review of this volume up on this channel, so if you're curious about that, you can check it out. I loved volume 1. This manga is one of my favorite manga. Like, I've read all of her work, and I've really, really enjoyed it, and so I feel, and I will, enjoy the like rest of this series, and I was waiting for it to all release so I could binge read it, because I feel like her series is best when it's just binge read, because I just go through them so fast, but they're very clean and wholesome stories and romance, and I just absolutely love it. I really love her heroines a lot, because I feel like they're just very sweet, and they're sweet, yes, but I feel like they're very kind and encouraging, and they're always willing to help other people, and I just really, really love that in a heroine. Those are some of my favorite traits, qualities, however you want to say that. So I'm hoping that me and Nick can buddy read this before the year ends, and on one of our channels do a live stream and talk about this series. Again, volume 1 was so good. I thought there was gonna be like 8 volumes, but there was like a mix-up on Kodansha, and there's only 7, even though there was a pre-order link at one time for volume 8. I don't know what happened, but it's 7 volumes long. It should not take that long for Nick and I to read it. He's a much faster reader than I am. He probably could read the series in a day. It might take me a few days. So this is another one, yes, on my plan to read before the year ends. For number 4, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I finally got this all in like my hands, and that is Wild Ones. I found, I think it was volume 1 and volume 8 at Second and Charles, and then I like went and was like, I'm gonna try and get the rest of the series because my library doesn't have it, and it's here. It is here. I have volumes 1 through 10. I have skim read a little bit of volume 1, and I really enjoyed it because this is a Yakuza themed romance, and I'm very curious to see how it unfolds. I only know one friend that has ever read this series, and I love the covers. I don't have the one that's like super pretty, like, well, I mean, this is pretty, but there's one where she's in a, I don't know, it's like a pink and green kind of themed, like square color. So very pretty, so very pretty. So this is one that I'm really looking forward to. I have high expectations. I feel like maybe I shouldn't, but I'm so excited to try it. I was like, I have this series, and it's an older series, and it's going out of stock or out of print, and I don't know. I have been wanting to try a Yakuza manga outside of The Way of the House Husband that had a romance, and so I feel like this one is going to deliver, or at least that's my hope. That's probably why I have high expectations, because I think I've shared about in a different video of how Yakuza theme manga are really in right now, and so I'm hoping, yeah, I think, you know what, I think I talked about this this manga in the used manga or used books for Top 5 Wednesday a few Wednesdays ago. I just realized that. I would have chosen a different series, but this, I guess it wouldn't matter because this is one that I still really, really want to read. Looking forward to it. I'll definitely do a video review. My goal is to read it before December and then in December to do a video review. We'll see what happens, friends. We will see what happens. And for number 5, last but not least, I'm going to say My Senpai is Annoying. So I remember when this was coming out, I knew some friends that had read it and said it was so good. And it's one of the first manga I discovered, I guess, that is a colored manga. And so I don't remember when it was, but me and my husband, we went to the bookstore. It was actually the same time I got Love Me, Love Me Not, Volume 1. But we went to the bookstore and I saw that they had, I think it was like Volume 1 and like Volume 4 or something. I picked them up and I've been collecting them ever since. But I have not read them. I detect a trend here. It's a horrible trend. But I have not read them since, but I've been collecting the volumes. I think I have, yeah, it's Volume 8. It's Volume 8 that I have. And I was going to pre-order Volume 9, and I said, hold up, Laura, you need to read what you have, because these are like, yeah, $15. That's a little bit more pricier than like, you know, like Viz Media manga or just cheaper manga. So I feel like they're more on the expensive side. And I was like, you need to read it. Yes, this is a series that I'm planning to read. I want to see before I pre-order Volume 9, am I going to enjoy the series? Because I've heard it's very funny, it's very good, but I have heard a few friends say that they're a little bit frustrated because the romance is not exactly developing in like by Volume 8. At least not in a way that's like not going slower than say like a snail. And I'm like, well, I think I could handle that, but I'm like, I need to actually see, because I said these are more expensive volumes, even though the color part is so nice. It's so very nice. And I did read a little bit of this today and it's still really funny, but I just don't know, will it be enough where I want to keep, you know, buying them and spending the higher price tag to get them because I love the series, because I'm trying to be more aware of that. Like Daughter of the Emperor, oh my goodness, my friend Meg sent me a copy. She was so sweet. It totally made me cry because that was during the time that my AC was out. And Volume 2 is coming out next month and I keep debating. I'm like, Laura, try the first volume first, because I have heard that that is a longer series, and I'm like, it's fully colored. It's so gorgeous though. It's so beautiful. So, but I'm like, okay, like that's me trying to implement my New Year's resolution before the year ends and actually try things as they come in. Same as, oh, you can't see it, but also My Happy Marriage. I want to try this. This just came out last week. As of filming this video, I have not started reading this because I'm filming this video very, very early, but I want to get Volume 2. I want to pre-order it, but I said, Laura, you have to read this first. So that is my goal for before the year ends. Read all of My Senpai is Annoying and see what we want to do. If we want to keep picking up the volumes, this I need to read. And for my honorable mention, this is not a long series, but Kami-sama Kiss. Yes. On a whim, I decided to get Volume 1, and it's sort of funny because I didn't expect myself to pick up this series. I wasn't even actually planning to pick it up, but I saw it in stock and I don't know, I just had this idea of like, Laura, you know that your library doesn't have all the volumes. Wonder if you pick this up years later and you're like, I love this, and you didn't get it when it was getting reprinted. So here we are. I have Volumes 2 and 3 ordered. They are on their way to me. I just pre-ordered. I ordered Volume 4 since it's coming back in stock next month. I ordered that, and I think I ordered Volume 5, but I did it with my November pre-orders. So that I'm like, if it's not right in October, it won't hold up those orders in October. Anyway, so I'm hoping to read Volumes 1 through 5 before this year ends. I have been strongly recommended this, and the only reason I wasn't planning or expecting to buy it because I'm not a huge fan of yokai, but I read a little bit of this when it came in. I more did a skim read than actually like sit down and read it, and it was really funny. I have high expectations for this one as well. I feel like they're even probably a little bit higher than usual because I'm like, this is not my typical thing that I'm drawn towards, and I'm really hoping that I like it. So I don't know what I'll do if I do though, because I'm like, Volumes 1 through 5 will be back. Well, Volumes 1 through 3 are in stock, and then Volume 4 comes in stock next month, and then Volume 5 comes in stock at the end of October, and then there's nothing. There's nothing. I think like in November there's like a random of Volume 11, but I was like, what about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? I like, what am I gonna do then? I guess I'd have to get it digitally if I really enjoyed it, because I think my library only has like 2 volumes of the series. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So we will just deal with that when the time comes, but I really do want to try at least the first 3 volumes to see what I think of this series. Am I going to want to try and like continue to get the reprints? What am I going to do? I don't know, but I did want to mention Kami-sama Kiss, and just for all those shoujo fans that absolutely love this series, I'm really excited to finally try it, or like give it a try and see what I think. And that, my friends, are my 5 manga picks and 1 honorable mention for manga series that I plan to read before this year ends. I feel like that's only like the tip of the iceberg. One of my goals for next month is not to check out any books from my library, but to read the series I actually have on my shelf, because I have a lot of manga that I have not read but I keep collecting anyway. I would love to hear from you, friends. What are some series that you would like to read or plan to read before this year ends? Let's just say before this series ends. But before this year ends, I would love to hear from you. Tell me down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!